Hello, it's Stuart the Unrepentant Atheist here. So today I'm going to be doing something a little different. I've been engaged in various discussions with people online about the fact that my own skeptical method is said to be limited because I'm not able to say whether with any confidence whether certain things are true or not. Maybe things which are purported to be beyond the material world. And this is said to be limiting me, and I'm just wondering really whether that's a valid criticism. So what I decided to do is make a list of various subjects and go through them one at a time. I've devised a sort of scale, confidence level scale, 10 being the maximum, meaning that if I give something a score of 10, it means I've got a very, very high level, the maximum level of confidence in the truth of something. And if I give it a 1, I've got absolutely no confidence in the truth of something. So let's go through them. And I know that people have said to me you need to use other tools beside science and beside rational skeptical method. And for example, some people have said to me intuition is something which is very important. For example, billions of people have had this intuition that there's a God, and this has been used as an argument for the existence of God, which I've rebutted simply by saying that I don't have that intuition. And as far as I know, not everybody does. It's not a sort of universal, it's not a universal intuition, and I haven't particularly seen intuition in my own life being really that accurate. It seems to be like 50-50. So I reject intuition as one of these so-called tools which can help us determine the true nature of reality. So let's go through these anyway, and maybe you can comment on my sort of method. So the first one, the big one, any gods, I would say that because obviously I'm an atheist. Are there any gods at all? I'm going to give that, believe it or not, level 1. I've got absolutely no confidence at all that there are any gods. Absolutely none whatsoever. All the so-called evidence that's been presented to me, all the philosophical arguments, have not brought me one step closer to believing in the existence of any God. So I've got no confidence at all in the proposition that a God or gods exist. So there we are. Basically, lack of evidence. I don't believe there's any evidence at all. For me, evidence is something which supports a proposition properly and convincingly. So weak evidence for me is no evidence at all. So I'm sorry, but that's how it is. Okay, so the next one is ancient aliens. Let's see if I can get the hang of this. Okay, so ancient aliens. So I first heard of ancient aliens. A friend said to me, "Oh, do you know how the pyramids were built?" I said, "Well, yeah, the ancient Egyptians, they built them." Oh, no, the ancient Egyptians didn't build them. They were built by aliens, ancient aliens. I couldn't help laughing. What are you laughing at? What's your evidence for this? Oh, well, there's a program on YouTube. It's called Ancient Aliens. They're all there. I mean, there are scholars on there. I mean, it's been properly researched and everything. It's all been confirmed. You should go and look at it. So yeah, well, of course, I have looked into it. I had to look into it, even though on the spot there and then, even without looking into it, I would have had a very high level of confidence that the pyramids were built by the ancient Egyptians, not aliens at all. And my reason for this, my reasoning on the spot without doing the research, would have been, A, it's never been confirmed that there's alien life, let alone alien life that's visited this planet. And B, it's been fairly well confirmed that the Egyptians did build the pyramids, and they also know how. The Egyptologists have obviously discovered all the engineering feats that they did. They've discovered how they managed to point the pyramids towards true north, using the star signs and everything, and it's all been confirmed, it's all been done. And this ancient alien, I did go then and follow up on ancient aliens on YouTube, and No. They're not. They're not real scholars. They're not Egyptologists. They're journalists. They're people with Bachelor of Arts and, in some cases, dropout scholars or dropouts from university who've gone on to try and make money out of preposterous, unevidenced things like ancient aliens. So, no. But having said that, I'm going to give Ancient Aliens a 2. And the reason for that is quite simple. Because ancient aliens are at least rooted in the real material world. They don't appeal to the supernatural. And for me, any proposition, no matter how absurd or crazy, is always automatically going to be more more sort of probably true, or less improbably false, than anything which appeals to the supernatural. So I'm going to give Ancient Aliens 2. I've got very little confidence that there have ever been ancient aliens, or indeed that aliens have ever visited the planet, or indeed that there are in fact intelligent aliens out there anywhere in the universe. I would say my level of confidence that there are intelligent aliens out there will be something like, again, 2, maybe 3. So very low indeed. Okay, let's move on to Julius Caesar. Okay, so Christians have sometimes said to me, there's as much evidence that Jesus existed as there is that Julius Caesar. You accept that Julius Caesar exists. Why won't you accept the claims about Jesus, that his existence? All right. Well, or quite simply, because of the evidence. Yeah, that's what it's about, the evidence. Obviously, Julius Caesar was a major figure in the ancient world. Several Roman historians wrote about him. I'm not sure which ones exactly, but I know that several Roman historians have written about him. He also wrote about himself. He actually left writings behind of himself. We know roughly what he looked like. There are Roman coins. And it's a very, very secure historic fact, really, that Julius Caesar did exist. So much so that I would probably have to give that 9 out of 10. Why am I not giving it 10 out of 10? I think probably merely for the fact that he lived so long ago, and even though the documentary evidence is overwhelming, something makes me marginally cautious about the further back you go in history. Even if there's the evidence is there, you've got to sort of put a little question mark against it, just a little tiny one, So, okay, so let's move on to Jesus. Okay, so Jesus. Do I believe Jesus existed? Well, that's a difficult one, really, because I think that behind this, the Gospels, I think in all likelihood there probably was a real Jesus. Whether his name was actually Jesus, I don't know, but it may well be that there was somebody going around preaching who impressed enough people to eventually start writing about him. So I'll say yes. I know that Josephus is a source outside of the New Testament. I'm not that convinced by that, but I think probably there was a Jesus. The Gospels for me are not the best possible evidence because they're theologically inspired and they were written to convert people. So, but having said that, I think there probably was a Jesus, and I will give, let me see, I haven't got a high level of confidence that there was a Jesus. I'm probably in the middle about that, so I'll put 5 down for Jesus. Okay. Oh, this is taking longer than I thought, guys. Buddha. Now, I've looked into Buddha. There's not much on him either, at least no contemporary. Apparently, the first writings of Buddha appear at least 200 years after he died, supposed to have died. So I know less about Buddha than I do about Jesus. But having said that, I think there's probably possibly more to believe that Buddha existed than Jesus. Maybe. Yeah, so that's a difficult one. Yeah, I don't know. That's a hard one. I think probably. I would probably. Oh, I'd probably have to give that one a 5 as well. It's kind of. I mean, I guess that quite a lot survived in the oral tradition, but I probably have as many doubts about Buddha as I do about Jesus. So, but I mean, one thing about Buddha is he never claimed to be the son of God. He never claimed to be anything supernatural. So, but well, let's move on. It's a tough one. As I said, the further you go back, I'm wondering actually whether I've given these too high a score. I'm going to bring that down to 3, because I've given Caesar 9. The evidence is so overwhelming. I think for Jesus and Buddha, it would have to be 3 each. Yeah. In fact, in a way, because at least Jesus had writings about him, within sort of 30 years of his death. And in Buddha's case, it's like 200 years. I mean, in that sense, I should probably give Buddha 2. I probably will, in fact. I'll give Buddha 2. I'm sure some of you will make some comments about these. I don't claim to be an expert about these subjects, but my level of confidence in the existence of Jesus and Buddha, as the traditions have come down, is actually quite low. So the moon landings, the Apollo moon landings. Okay. We're getting into conspiracy theory territory here. My confidence in the moon landings is very high. I'd have to give it a 9. I think that the documentary evidence is so overwhelming for the moon landings. I don't want to go through it now, but I just think it's overwhelming, and I think that moon hoaxers are just closing their eyes to the evidence. Spheroid Earth, obviously flat Earth thing. Well, I mean, I'm absolutely 10 out of 10 confident on that one. I don't even want to get into that, just because of all the bulk of scientific evidence. Radio waves. People have often said, "Oh, so you only believe in what you can see. If you can't see it, you don't believe in it." Well, actually, no. I can't see radio waves, but I believe in radio waves because we can detect them. So, I believe in radiation because we can detect radiation. So it's not about seeing is believing, it's about data, and it's about measuring, and it's about evidence. So radio waves, I'm 10 out of 10 confident on those. The Holocaust, okay, we've got Holocaust denial. I'll give that 9 out of 10. Very, very high level of confidence in that. I think it's, there's just so much evidence. It's quite a recent event. There are still witnesses. You've got all the shoes and the clothes still, and all the film footage, etc. Okay, King Arthur. Well, that's a tough one because I believe historians have said there may have been somebody like Arthur, but in terms of a King Arthur and Lancelot and everything, no, I don't believe in that. I believe he was just a legend. So. I'll put that down as 2, simply because at least King Arthur's not supernatural. Robin Hood, same thing. I've researched Robin Hood. I've got a very good scholarly book about Robin Hood. There was again possibly a figure, but there was some Middle English poetry written, Tales of Robin Hood, and most of it's based on that. So I'll give that a 2 because I think there was somebody in those times, not necessarily that he stole from the rich and gave to the poor, but I'll give that one 2 anyway. The miracles of Jesus. Well, obviously, I don't hardly believe Jesus existed anyway, and because miracles are appearing to fantastic supernatural claims, I give those absolutely no credence at all. They're attested to in the New Testament, but if I was writing a gospel, if I was writing a book to persuade people that there was a Son of God and he could do amazing things, I would put miracles in too, and I would also put witnesses in who died for the miracles that they saw. It's no big deal, it's a no-brainer, that one. So that one's only worth 1. I don't believe they happened. Spiritual surgery, that's a load of nonsense. I only give that 1. I'm giving that 1. Yeah, of course, spiritual surgery is utter nonsense. There's no evidence for it. Poor old Andy Kaufman, when he was dying, went out to see a spiritual surgeon, and I don't know whether he realized he was being conned, but they left it to the last moment, and he came back to America to die. So that's rubbish. Homeopathy, that's another load of cobblers, a lot of rubbish. It's just watered down, just nonsense. It's just literally diluted down till there's no active ingredient left. Water memory is no scientific evidence at all, so that's a 1 as well. Chiropractic, well, I'm going to give this one 2. I probably shouldn't. It's another quack thing, really. I mean, there's a possibility that some of the manipulations are doing some good for the back. I don't know. There's a lot of people online saying, oh, I've been to a chiropractor and, my back feels a lot better. I don't know. Maybe there's something in it. I can't see much evidence in it, but I've got very low confidence in it. I did have a chiropractic session once, cracked my back and everything. I kind of felt better in the short term, but the next day I just felt like normal. I don't know whether I don't think there's anything in it. Chemotherapy, well, I've got a very high level of confidence in that because of the bulk of scientific evidence for it. Well, I have to, again, it's because it's the data. It's data at the end of the day that gives me that confidence. The evidence is there, the scientific 10 out of 10. Battle of Hastings, well, there are good sources for that. There's a Bio Tapestry, there's the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle, there's French, there's poems, there's the Normans themselves, I believe, made a record of it. I think that's, well, I'll give that 9. Again, because it's 1,000 years ago, but still the evidence is very high. Theory of evolution. Well, reading The Blind Watchmaker and understanding more about evolution than ever before. I can't give intelligent design any credence. I really am utterly convinced by the theory of evolution. I'll give that 10. Again, intelligent design. It proposes that there's a God who's the designer. I can't give that any credence at all. Obviously, I've said I don't believe in any gods, so I don't believe it's made any scientific case whatsoever. Life after death, nobody's ever come back to say that they've survived. All the evidence is that when the biological body dies, the rest of you dies with it, all the memories and everything else. NDEs, I don't believe in those. I believe there's no good evidence, just anecdotes, and I've got no confidence that there's any life after death at all, so just 1. Loch Ness Monster, I don't really believe in the Loch Ness Monster. I don't believe there's any good evidence. I'll give that a 2 just because it doesn't appeal to the supernatural. Who knows, maybe a plesiosaur did survive and there's one there, or 2 or 3 and they're breeding, but very unlikely. Astral projection is when your soul goes walkabout in the middle of the night when you're dreaming. Nope, I don't believe in a soul. No evidence for that. Just books. People making lots of money out of selling books and silly claims. Past lives, reincarnation. Nope, that's a lot of rubbish. No evidence for that. Past lives is rubbish. I've debunked on my channel a boy who said he was a pilot. His parents just made a load of money out of it. That's a lot of rubbish. Astrology is rubbish too. No evidence for that. Vitamins and supplements. I'll give that 2. I believe vitamin supplements are an absolute con. I think the body is fit for absorbing these vitamin nutrients through food, but not through pills. Synthetically made vitamins, etc., and all that rubbish. No, I don't waste my money on it. There's no evidence for it. I've checked on the evidence. There's no evidence. The soul, no, that's rubbish. We've already concluded on that. Multiverses, I'll give that 2. I don't really believe in multiverses, but who knows? I suppose it's possible that there are other universes. But I've got a very low confidence. I believe ours is the only universe. Black holes, Stephen Hawking, etc., done some good work on that. I think that's fairly well evidenced. So I'll give that 9. Telepathy, no. I'll give that 1. I mean, James Randi has done telepathy. It's another lot of nonsense. Okay, guys, that's about it. I'm finishing this video now. Let me know what you think of that. Let me know what you think of my opinions and my method. Okay, see you for now.